Dum dee diddly die dum do he lie dum dee diddle die dum do he lie dum dee diddle die dum do he hiddle 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 hi dum do. What are we the day?
St Matthew's Church.
St Matthew's Church in what city?
Perth.
The fair city of Perth. And just look at the architecture here. William, what about this bit here? Do you know anything about this?
That is like the thing from when Moses met God.
Right.
And it's like shaped like what?
It's like the meeting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Well remembered you. Now just have a look at the flowers here as well. Isn't this lovely? Absolutely beautiful. Do you recognise any of these ones, Chloe? I think I see some nasturtiums. And some marigolds. Right, shall we head in? Shall we head inside?
This church.
Oh, wait a minute, Will.
Yeah.
Right, tell us.
This church sports the Perth Battalion
The
colours.
Perth Battalion of the Boys Brigade.
Yeah.
Right. So I was in the Boys Brigade as well when I was young, and just look at this architecture here.
Beautiful.
Isn't it fantastic? What do you think of this building? So I have just been reading recently that this was actually refurbished in 2016. And just look, so what would we normally have in this bit when you come into pews? And would we tell everyone at home what a pew might be?
So it's like a long seat.
A long wooden seat. Is it comfortable?
No.
Not particularly. What are the seats here like?
They're just nice and.
Yeah.
And also pews on the bottom, or like in the middle of them, you get things that you can open to get like your books out.
That's right. But look at this one. This one can do both, can't it?
Yeah.
So during the week, it can be opened up like this so people can come in for a cup of tea. And they also have little, is it a gallery, would we call it? Now look at this here. So glass for all time. Well, we come and have a wee look in here and say hello to this gentleman.
Hi.
Hello there. So, you make stained glass, is it? Or is that, what do you call what you do?
I make all sorts of glass.
All
There's
sorts of glass.
stained glass, traditional stained glass,
Right.
and there's also fused glass.
Fused glass, right. So wait a minute, you were telling us a little bit about fused glass. How does that work?
Fused glass is basically where you melt either totally or partially pieces of glass to other pieces of glass.
And do we have any examples of that we could look at on the camera? So these are all fused glasses. So these are little bits on the front that are
Yep.
fused onto the back bits.
Each one of these takes approximately 18 hours to make
Oh wow.
because they're in the kiln 3 times. Once to form the background, which is 2 sheets of 3mm glass made into a sheet of 6mm glass, and the rest is actually melted onto it, and then it's put into the kiln a 3rd time.
Oh wow.
And fuse them all together.
And we've got some lovely Scottish stuff here. We've got some wee Celtic symbols. We've got the deer at the back. And I do like all the fishes here. What's your favourite, Will?
I like that one.
I like that one too. Right, well, we'll have a look at this other side. And look at this one here. Is this a sun, maybe?
It's a Pictish and Celtish design.
Ah, so this is what we find a lot on our travels, is a lot of the names are Pictish names.
Round about this part of the world was really where the Picts were quite strong, all the way up the east coast.
Ah.
And you'll find in churches, very old churches, you'll find some signs of Pictish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Have we picked the right spots for going looking for them?
You've picked the right spot.
Probably the best place I can send you to is the church at Fowlis Wester.
All right.
There are 2 Pictish crosses within that.
Oh, wow. We'll definitely have to go and check that one out
They're
then.
1,000 years old.
Really?
Yes.
So there you go. So there's our oldest habitation we kind of find down in Muckert. That's the sort of oldest area there. That dates back to around 1,000 years ago. And they say the church there would have had a lodge, but it would have been a wooden one. So we
Yes.
don't have the original structure, but we know that it
Yeah,
was
if
there
you-
because St Serf came through and
That's
preached.
right. If you look at, if you go to Fowlis Wester, which is actually a very old centre of ecclesiastical.
So where's that then?
About 10 miles west
Right.
of Perth on the Crieff Road.
Right, we can find that later on, I think.
And you'll find two Celtic Pictish crosses in there.
Fantastic. Well, we all always love to find the connections between the old and the new.
These designs are Pictish.
Oh, right, so these are all Pictish shapes. And
That's a boar, that's a salmon.
so the place I just mentioned, Muckard, is
Yeah.
the place of the high boar.
Oh,
So Muck is boar and Ard is the high.
well, that's a boar, that's a salmon. This is thought to be a partridge or it could be a pheasant, but
Right.
it's difficult to say. This is a bear, that's an eagle. Now, this one, nobody knows
It's an
what
upside
this
down
is.
seahorse to me.
Well, it's been called a seahorse, it's been called a dolphin, and it's been called a seal.
Right.
But nobody knows what it is precisely.
So we've lost a couple of these animals now. We don't have bears and we don't have boars anymore, do we?
Well, they're talking about introducing boars.
Oh, are they?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
But these little designs here, these are all Pictish. But the centre is actually Celtic.
That's Celtic, I was going to say, aye.
Yeah, it's difficult to see where the Celts and the Picts overlap because the Picts disappeared.
Yeah.
But when you say they disappeared, they probably married in to...
Into amalgamated between them.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Right, will we go and check out the rest of this church?
Yeah.
Now, they are celebrating an anniversary at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
How many years anniversary is it?
51 years.
150.
151
So, well, maybe it was last year then, because I think it was built or opened in 1871, this one. But there had been a church here for 30 years before that, hadn't there? And this was the year, so in 1843, this was the year of the Great Disruption. And what was the Great Disruption? Do you know?
No.
Well, it was a split between the original Church of Scotland and the other churches which created the free churches. And this was because the people in their own area wanted to choose who their minister would be. But what did the church say?
No.
They said, no, we want to choose, we're going to choose your minister for us. So what happened in Scotland was there was a massive split. And it was a big decision for the ministers because when they worked in the church, they got their manse, which is where they lived. They had all these things that came with it. So they were giving up quite a lot of stuff to go and form their own churches. And this one here was the amalgamation. Do you know what amalgamation means?
Basically, you find two elements from mixed together to
Or
make another
more
good
than one.
thing.
Yes, to make something else. And that's exactly what happened. So 4 different churches here amalgamated to create this spectacular building. Now, when I look up here, there's something that I recognise. Can you guys see the flags up there? Do you recognise them? They're British flags, but they're from a particular time in British history. Do you know when that might be?
Where 100 years after America split.
No, so these are around World War I. And that was when a lot of the men went to war, and a lot of them died. And when we walk around Perth, when you go to the churches, you'll find little memorials on the outside of all of them with all the men's name. And wherever we go, we always find lots of war memorials in the villages and in the towns that we go to, don't we?
Yes.
And even in some of the parks. So these flags here commemorate that. And I don't know if I can quite make out the writing on them. Now, will we go and have a wee look upstairs and see what it looks from up there? Now, do we go... Oh, right. Well, all right, well, you can read this to us. So this is from World War II. So this is just what we were talking about. Would you like to maybe read that?
From 1939 to 1945, to the glory of God and in honoured memory of the men connected with this congregation who gave their lives in the World War.
And that's
Norman
the names
William
of them.
Bridges, James Cameron Campbell, Charles Gray, Alexander Cameron Johnson, Robert Johnson, John Malcolm McFarlane, David Taylor Mackenzie, Edward Todd Matheson, John Alexander Morrison, Thomas Ralph Morton, Paul Ross, Robert Sinclair, James David Smith, John McLaughlin, McLaren, Stuart Taylor, William Thompson, and John White.
So there's somebody with the same name as you, isn't it? That's quite poignant when you see things like that, eh?
It's like,
Now, I think to go up the stairs, I think we go back down here and we'll have a wee look. Now, what a job they've done with this refurbishment, haven't they? It doesn't feel cold and drafty in here, does it? It looks amazing. Which way do we go to upstairs? Just this way? Oh, and then the nice man's going to come and show us where to go. Fantastic. The balcony. Oh wow, look at this. Can you hear the echo? Oh, and look at the light in here as well. These big, long, tall windows. They are quite unique, aren't they? Very old. There we go. Oh, thank you very much. Wow. What is this, he says as he comes in. Look. Oh, you're all right. Just come in here. You'll not be scared once you're in here. You can just wait here if you want. Just imagine sitting up here, Willie. Would this be our seat, do you think? We could sit here, looming over everyone, listening to the sermon, aye. And just look at the window up there as well. That is fantastic, isn't
we
it?
can see some of the flag at the back there is a bit different. It's yellow.
It's a little bit different. I wonder what that is. Maybe if we walk along there, we can go and have a good look at them. What do you think?
Okay.
Will we do that?
Yep.
Come on then. And can you imagine this all filled up with people? No, come this way to the top. Come to the top. God hath spoken to. Look at this. So normally you don't get this close up to the stained glass. And just look at this.
I can pull the blinds down.
So this is what I quite like about this. So you've got the modern, you've got the old stained glass here, and then you've got the gentleman down there with his modern versions of the same thing, don't you?
This feels so old.
It feels really old, doesn't it? Wow.
And then you got that flag, yellow flag.
Yeah,
What represented the overseas territories of Britain?
maybe something like that. Let me just zoom in and we can maybe look back in the video and see if we can read it.
Or, just thinking maybe the.
And look as well, so this is a really big room. So when you've got a big room, or any room, what do you need to be able to see in it?
Seats.
Seats? No, you need them for sitting, but what do you need to be able to see properly? When it's dark, what do you need in the room?
Lights.
Lights. Now look at the lights they've got here. This is like a pop concert lights, isn't it?
Yeah. You seem like you'd be in a movie or something.
It's like being in a movie or something, yeah. That's exactly right.
When they got people who control the.
Right, well, we'll have a look down for this side. Oh, look, William.
What?
Look at this. You can see straight down to the floor. Chloe wouldn't like it up here.
No. I don't like it either.
Oh, you get used to it though. And just look at that. Can you hear the echo up here as well a wee bit?
Echo.
There'll be no echo once it's filled with people. Now, what's my favourite thing to do when I go to church? La 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 la. Just imagine singing in here. Huh?
Echo.
Just imagine singing in here with a choir.
They should film music videos or something.
They should, shouldn't you?
They look a lot better. Or,
Right, we'll just go back down here one more time and then we'll say cheerio, shall we? We'll just come here and we'll sit down again. And we'll say goodbye, boys and girls.
bye.